Did you know that some of the most powerful secrets in history were stolen not with bombs, not with spies in dark alleys, but with love affairs? Have you ever heard of Mordecai Vanunu, the man who revealed Israel's nuclear weapons program only to be undone by a woman's smile, or the Stasi's so-called Romeos, trained to seduce lonely secretaries in West Germany and pry NATO secrets from the bedroom? And what if I told you the CIA itself once built secret brothels inside America, spiked men's drinks with LSD, and watched from behind mirrors? This is not rumor. This is not gossip. This is history. Buried in declassified files, whispered in scandals, hidden in ruined reputations. The weapon is as old as time itself, seduction. And the story is called the honeypot. Stay until the end, because what begins as romance ends in betrayal. What begins with passion ends with power. Seduction as power is nothing new. Cleopatra used her beauty to charm Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Centuries later, Mata Hari, dancer and accused spy, became a symbol of sex used in espionage during World War I. But the Cold War changed everything. It wasn't just individuals. It was entire agencies with training manuals and budgets. Mossad, the KGB, the CIA, all turned love into a weapon of state, because a safe is hard to break, but a lonely heart is easy to open. In 1986, Mordecai Vanunu leaked photos proving Israel had nuclear weapons. The world was stunned. Israel was furious. Mossad sent an agent. Her name was Cheryl Bentov, codename Cindy. Blonde, confident, trained in seduction. She lured him from London to Rome. He thought it was romance. It was a trap. Vanunu was drugged, bound, and smuggled to Israel in a crate. He spent 18 years in prison, most of it in solitary. His betrayal began with a kiss. He was not alone. In the 1960s and 70s, Egyptian diplomats in Europe and Lebanese officials tied to Palestinian groups were reportedly seduced by Mossad operatives. Mossad's own manuals called it legitimate tradecraft. A weapon is a weapon, one agent said. Whether it's a gun or your body, the mission comes first. But if Mossad perfected the honeypot, the Soviets and East Germans industrialized it. The Stasi created the Romeo program. Young, handsome men trained as seducers. Their targets, secretaries and assistants in West German ministries and NATO offices. Women often lonely, craving affection. One victim, Gabriele Kleum, believed she'd found love in a man who said he was an engineer. In truth, he was Stasi. Through her, sensitive NATO communications flowed east. When the Berlin Wall fell, she discovered her lover had been an agent all along. Historians estimate 40 to 70 Romeos were active. Dozens of women were arrested for espionage, some jailed, many humiliated. The Stasi didn't just steal secrets, they stole lives. But the CIA had its own dark games. In the 1950s and 60s, under MK Ultra, they launched Project Midnight Climax. In apartments disguised as brothels, prostitutes lured men inside. Drinks were spiked with LSD. Behind one-way mirrors, CIA agents watched and recorded. Civilians were used as lab rats without consent. The goal: test how sex and drugs could break resistance, expose secrets, or create blackmail. Abroad, prostitutes were used to target diplomats and soldiers. In Saigon, in Asia, in Europe, secrets slipped out between sheets. And then there are the whispers. Were world leaders ever caught? The rumors never die. John F. Kennedy, famed for his affairs, was viewed by the FBI as a honeypot risk. One of his lovers was suspected of ties to East German intelligence. Nothing proven, but the danger was real. Arab leaders too were rumored targets of Mossad's traps. In Moscow, the KGB wired entire hotels with cameras, filming visiting dignitaries in compromising situations. Western officials were warned, in Moscow, trust no smile. No one will ever publish the full list. Too much power, too much shame. And that silence is the perfect cover. Why did honeypots work so well? Because they exploited human weakness, loneliness, ego, desire, the need to feel wanted. A safe requires explosives. A heart requires only affection. The story of the honeypot is not romance. It is betrayal. It is control. It is sex turned into statecraft. From Mossad's Cindy in Rome, to the Stasi's Romeos, to the CIA's LSD brothels, the pattern never changed. Seduction, compromise, exploitation. The victims were not just leaders and generals, but secretaries, diplomats, ordinary people who never recovered. And the most chilling truth, we will never know how many world leaders, scientists, and officials were compromised. No one admits to betrayal by seduction, but the lesson remains. Nations may spend billions on satellites and weapons, but the oldest weapon of all is still the human heart. What begins in passion can end in treason. If you believe stories like this must be remembered, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and help us keep history alive. Because in the world of espionage, what we forget is always used against us.